In this video, we'll be discussing the 5 things you need to do when you receive a notice or a letter from the IRS. My name's Kipp. I'm a CPA, I have my master's degree in accountancy, and I spend a lot of time responding to IRS notices and talking to them on the phone. So let's get to the tip. There are 5 main steps you need to take when you receive a notice from the IRS. Number 1 is open it. Number 2, read it. Number 3, compare your information. Number 4, prepare a response and send it. And then 5 is explore other options. You may be asking yourself, why am I getting this letter from the IRS? What do they want? What do they expect from me? Well, there's too many options, too many scenarios that we could go through. Instead, we'll go over some of the most common reasons the IRS contacts you and the steps you need to take to respond to them. Step 1 is open the letter. Now, this may seem really stupid to have as a point, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. They get the letter, they look at it, they say, oh crap, it's the IRS, and they do nothing with it. They just stick it in their tax documents and expect to be able to fix it when they're doing their taxes at the beginning of the next year. That's not the way to do it. Oftentimes, these IRS letters, they have deadlines. They give you homework. They want you to provide them the information they've asked for in a specific amount of time. And so that's another reason why you really need to open the letter. Please don't be one of those people. Open up the letter, and that way you can move on to step 2, which is read it. Reading the letter will benefit you in either one of 2 ways. Either first, you'll understand what it says, you'll be able to respond, give them what they're asking for, resolve the conflict yourself. Number 2 is you'll be able to see that they're speaking some tax mumbo-jumbo language that you don't know. And so it will give you the option to go and find someone who does speak tax mumbo-jumbo and better understand what they're asking for. Either way, you'll be a whole step ahead of people that just leave the notice unopened. Often the IRS will be asking for very specific information, especially in things such as health insurance, making sure that you are covered, or if you received the advanced premium tax credit, they want you to reconcile and show them, yes, I really did qualify to receive this credit. By the way, check out my other video on the perils of the advanced premium tax credit and health insurance through the marketplace. I'll link it down in the description below. Side note, let's call this step 2.5. You need to understand the letter. If you open it, you read it, and you don't know what's going on, there's something that you need to do as kind of a side note. This is like a super tip. This is one of the best tips that I could give you. If you don't understand what the IRS is asking for, you need to write them a very short letter just saying, hi, we received your letter, we need more time to respond to you, and close it. Like, that's all you have to say is request more time. That will give you enough time to find someone that does understand what the IRS is asking for, and it'll save your butt. Sometimes the IRS will also provide you a phone number on the letter, and so if they've given you a phone number, you could just call that number and say, hi, we got this letter from you guys, can I get more time? And usually if you're polite, if you're respectful, the IRS responds very well. They'll usually give you more time than is shown on that letter. Okay, so step 3, moving past 2.5, step 3 is compare. You want to compare your information to the information the IRS is providing. If they're assessing an additional tax, if they say that your returns were filed incorrectly, then oftentimes they may not have all the information. And so you need to compare what they're showing on the notice that they've sent you to the information that you have. One of the most common issues that I've seen is the IRS wasn't given the information from the reporting agency. For example, if you're a student, you're going to university, they need to give that tuition information to the IRS. And they do so with the form 1098-T. And sometimes they'll give the student the 1098-T and they'll fail to send that information over to the IRS. And so there's really 4 outcomes that can come from this. As you compare your information to the IRS's. As you compare your information to what the IRS sent you, either 1, yeah, their information will match yours and something might have just been filed wrong. It could have been a clerical error on your end. And if that's the case, you probably should just pay the tax, pay the penalties, and move on with it. Second option is, yes, they agree, but the IRS doesn't have the full picture. If that's the case, you need to draft a response, send them the additional information, such as if they don't have the 1098-T, you send it to them. Pretty simple. And they'll say that in their letter too. Our records don't match your records, this is what we say your returns should be, and so you need to just justify what it is that you claimed, and that can be done by sending them copies of your forms. Another option is no, they don't agree. The IRS has incorrect information. And in that case, it's usually good to send them a response requesting additional information, requesting why they're saying certain things. They don't have all the information, and so you need to send it to them. You need to let them know this is what I have, this is where I came up with it, and this is why. And so sending them that additional information, that's going to give them what they need to match their records with your records. And then the fourth outcome is you have no clue. Your information could match, it could be different, you don't really know. In that case, go back to the super tip, go back to 2.5. You need to send that response asking for more time and then find someone that can help you compare their information to your information. So I've kind of already gotten into step 4 a little bit, where you prepare it and then you send it. You need to prepare a response and then send it to the IRS, which sounds pretty simple. Once you've read the letter, you understand what's going on, you know what they're asking for, and you've compared their information to your information, you're ready to send a response. So you draft a response, again using very respectful language. Be as respectful and nice as possible. The IRS does make mistakes, but they don't like being told that they're wrong. And so the more respectful you can be in your letter, the more likely they're going to side with you, say, oh yeah, we were wrong, sorry about that. If you're a jerk, they're a lot less likely. They'll just kick it down the road, send you more letters. I've seen that happen too. Whew. If you're sending a response through the mail, I really highly suggest that you use certified mail. This will give you a response saying, hey, your letter was delivered, and then if for some reason they lose it at the IRS, I've seen that happen too. If that happens, then you'll have confirmation, you'll have documentation showing, hey, I sent this, it arrived with you on this day, someone signed for it. This isn't on me, this is on you. And that kind of covers your butt as well. If you're sending it by fax, then make sure you have a good cover letter that says exactly what it is that's being faxed, and make sure that your tax ID number, your social security number, is on every page that you're faxing. That way, if more than one fax is going through at a time, they get mixed up, the wrong pages don't get attributed to your account. I've never seen that happen. It could happen. I just know that they always suggest that you put your tax ID number on every page that's getting faxed. And I'll be honest, I didn't know how to use a fax machine until I had to start responding to IRS notices. At first I would just write letters and they were super slow to respond back. It took forever. So when I started using the fax number that they offered, it's been really helpful, but I had no idea how. A super nice lady at my office had to teach me how to use a fax machine. Millennials, right? Another item associated with this is make sure you keep copies of everything you send to the IRS. You need to keep the original and always just send them a copy. I'm currently working with a client where we've been back and forth with the IRS probably 4 or 5 times, and I've had to resend responses that we've sent in the past saying, look, we resolved this issue already, why are you bringing it up again? And so keeping track of what you've sent them already will help a lot going forward as they continue to kick it down the road. Okay, so you send a response, you're waiting for them to respond back. They'll respond in one of 4 ways. If they think you're right based on the information you sent, they'll say, hey, you're right, we're done, we'll close the inquiry, whatever's applicable to your situation, it'll be resolved. If they agree to some of it but not all of it, they may request additional information. You might have sent them stuff, but that could bring up more questions. And so they may say yes, but, and in that case you have to respond again. Another option is they may see what you sent them and they still don't agree. They say, well, we have your new information, but you're still wrong. They still want you to pay the tax, pay the penalties, whatever it may be. And if that's the case, I suggest you still try and fight it. Especially if it's a significant amount of money to you, it's worth putting in a few extra hours of time researching why they think you're wrong and keeping the money or not paying the tax, however you want to look at it. Sometimes the IRS is wrong even when they think they're right. Kind of like I said, I'm currently in a battle with the IRS where we've responded back and forth so many times and I know they're wrong. So another option is they just need more information. Like I said before, the information that you provided, it was good, but it brought up more questions than it answered. And so they may want you to send them additional information again. Another common response that they may send you is that they need more time. The IRS gets backed up a lot. And so sometimes they just need more time to look over the information you've sent and send you another response. So oftentimes they'll send you a letter saying something to the effect of, we need 4 to 8 weeks, and in that case, just wait for another letter. And then finally, step 5, explore other options. If you spent countless hours going through your tax documents and you've been back and forth with the IRS several times and they're just telling you that your interest and penalties are accruing and if things don't look like they're going in your favor, it may be time to explore a different option. One of those options may be giving up. If it's less than $500 that they're trying to get out of you, it might be worth it to just say, okay, here's the money, stop charging me interest, stop charging me penalties, and just be done with it. And sometimes that's worth it. Another option is to seek outside help. A CPA, a tax attorney, some enrolled agents, they have the know-how, they have or should have the expertise on how to respond to IRS notices in a way that the IRS wants. Sometimes you're providing the correct information, you're just not giving it to them in the format that they're asking for. And so a CPA or a tax attorney, they'll be able to help you with that. If it's a significant sum of money for you, it might be worth it to take it to a tax attorney or a CPA, and they'll be able to let you know if it's worth taking to the Office of Appeals. We won't get into what the Office of Appeals is, but just think of it as another branch of the IRS that works as taxpayer advocates. So you need to open the letter, do it. You need to read the letter. You need to compare the information the IRS provided to the information that you have. You need to prepare a response and send it, and then wait for them to respond back. Kind of a long process. And if none of those have worked, it might be time to seek outside help, whether it be a CPA or a tax attorney, or it might be time to throw in the towel. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, I really encourage you to ring that bell and subscribe. And keep an eye out for more tax tips and tools to answer the questions you didn't know you had.